the Supreme People's Assembly has met in Pyongyang for a rare second time in the space of a year. An earlier session took place this April. During a Thursday session, the Assembly approved changes to the country's constitution, which would solidify leader Kim Jong Un's role as head of state. The move comes after Kim was formally named head of state and commander-in-chief of the military in July's new constitution. Well, let's go now to our correspondent Shane Harm, who's in Seoul. Shane, tell us more about these changes in the DPRK's constitution and what they mean for the country.
Well, what these changes being made at a meeting of the DPRK Supreme People's Assembly, essentially it's the country's legislature there. Now, Kim Jong Un was not present at the meeting, but according to state media, Choi Yong-hae, he's the president of the Presidium of the Supreme People's Assembly. The change in Kim's legal status has been further consolidated to, quote, according to the statement, firmly ensure the monolithic guidance of the supreme leader over all the state's affairs. Now, this new constitution authorizes Kim to promulgate legislative ordinances and major decrees and decisions, as well as appoint or recall diplomatic envoys to foreign countries. So what that all means essentially is that Kim Jong Un, who has thus far been referred to as the chairman of the Supreme Council, will now have legal backing as the de facto head of state and the commander-in-chief of the nation's military as well. Now, will that change anything? We know that Kim is a third-generation hereditary leader, but what these changes mean is that his authority is on pace to be on par with his grandfather, Kim Il-sung, the founder of the country, and at the very least, it puts on paper or codifies Kim Jong Un's power at the moment.
And are these changes likely to have any impact on the region, Shane, especially in regards to denuclearization efforts on the peninsula?
Well, this latest move is a very domestic event here in the DPRK, but if you look at the region, ever since the Kim-Trump summit or meeting at Panmunjom in late June, we've seen everything but diplomacy or discussion as it relates to peace in the region or denuclearization. We've seen the U.S. and South Korea hold their annual military drills, albeit in a very low-key or scaled-down version. In response, we've seen the DPRK fire off a flurry of short-range projectiles, missiles over displeasure over the drills. But we have also seen Trump and Kim exchange personal letters, according to the U.S. president. But now that the drills are over, a natural progression would be to get working-level talks between Washington and Pyongyang to start over. The goal would be to try to narrow any differences that may have left the Hanoi talks earlier without a deal to conclude. And more recently here in South Korea, President Moon Jae-in, in a recent interview, has stated that he would like to see Kim Jong Un invited to South Korea in November for a summit between South Korea and the leaders of Southeast Asian nations as well. So there's a lot of potential here, but as far as how that moves forward, we're going to need to see progress on a working level, at least, from the denuclearization front.
All right, thanks very much, Shane Harm in Seoul.